I'm an old woman and you're an eclectic, basically, who like and metal. I respect it.
Hey, Emma, what drum kit do you use?
Am I too old to start playing drums?
Should I get lessons?
How do I
Why
play
do drums
that?
cost
When
so
will I
much?
start sounding good?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Missing a Beat with me, Sounds Like Emma, and a couple other people. Actually, not a couple other people, just Chris Keeling, the legend that is Chris Keeling. And today we're going to be talking about our Spotify Wrapped and whether I play in the style of the music I listen to. Because I'm not sure if I do, honestly. I don't know. What about you, Chris?
Well, the short answer is no, I don't play the same stuff I listen to at all.
All right, with that in mind, who's going first? That's the big question.
I think everyone's dying to hear yours, Emma. So you go.
All right, so I posted on I think it was Instagram, that I appear to Spotify to be a grandma. I just do. I'm not gonna. I don't regret it at all. Because let's have a quick skip through. Apologies. Bear with. Okay, number 1, Fleetwood Mac. Excellent choice. Never the wrong choice, quite frankly. And I'm going to stick to my guns on this. You can argue with me if you like. But you're wrong, quite frankly. Fleetwood Mac, iconic. No arguments there. Good. Fantastic. Next, Aretha Franklin. Again, iconic. These are all iconic, all right? I may be an old soul, but these are all fantastic. Just my humble opinion. It may be my Spotify Wrapped, but it is what it is. Deal with it. Listen, I'm coming in hot with these hot takes. I'm seeming a bit too defensive of my choices. Maybe I am actually a bit hurt by the fact that my taste is this old. I promise it's not actually this old. Anyway, next. Sounding not old. Steely Dan. A bit of a 70s jazz pop rock. Why not? Is it even pop rock? Don't know. But yeah, I've just been into it this year. It is what it is. If you don't know who Steely Dan are, get educated, do better, because they're amazing. This podcast, I'm coming in with the hot takes. I'm really on it. I have strong feelings about my music tastes, all right? And I know that most of the people watching this are probably slightly older than me, so they're going to get it. They get it, right? I trust you guys. Right. Next. Iconic. Again, I mean, out the park with this. ABBA.
Fair enough.
Exactly. Say no more. I'm not going to even say any more. I don't need to. Right. 5. Queen. Right?
Also fair enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This also does scream almost basic. I'm not going to lie. Got to get a bit more adventurous. This is what this is telling me. Maybe. But these are all people with huge discographies, so I don't think I'm fully to blame here, quite frankly. So yeah, there it is. I'm actually surprised that Kate Bush wasn't on there this year, because last year she definitely was, and she deserves an honourable mention because, again, a queen. What are your thoughts and opinions on this? Because I think my taste is amazing, quite frankly.
Let's just rewind back to each one of these. Let's ask your favourite songs from each of those artists, because that's interesting as well, right? Is it like one of the big singles? Is it like a little hidden gem somewhere? So if we go back to the start, I can't remember what number
Fleetwood
one.
Mac.
Fleetwood Mac, yes.
It's a bit of an obscure one. The favourite song I think I had this year. I think most of the listening happened in like April or something.
Yeah.
But Isn't It Midnight from the Tango in the Night album, which has got like Everywhere and all the 80s Fleetwood Mac classics on it. It's just like almost rock. But I know obviously Fleetwood Mac is seen as rock, but if you put it in modern context, it's not. Let's be real. And it's just got this super 80s, it's not power metal, I'm not going to even say it, but it gives me that vibe because of the guitar tone. I just love it.
Mhm.
And it comes in with these like really just nice synths during the chorus, and it's good. It's very good. And I think that was the main one. I also ended up listening a lot to the Rumours album because it's one of the only albums I've got downloaded, and I was doing a lot of driving in places that had no signal. So I guess, oh no, I've got to listen to Rumours again. What a disaster. So that's probably how that came to be number 1, likely.
Okay. Cool. All right. And second artist,
Aretha Franklin.
Aretha Franklin. Yes.
I've listened well, I don't know if it was a lot this year or not that I started listening to the Amazing Grace live album. But if you don't know what that was, it was basically Aretha Franklin and some amazing musicians, including Bernard Purdie, I think was on drums. They all got together in a church with Aretha Franklin's friend James Cleveland, and they recorded an album, and it was outstanding.
That's what
Amazing
that album is. I was listening to it the
Yeah.
other day on Spotify, and I was like, "This is all just like, what's going on?"
It's
Like, it's
brilliant.
not bad. It was just
Yeah.
different. I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah. And also, it's I think they re-recorded the video. Oh no, they found the video for it, and they managed to like cobble stuff together a bit more. So there's actually a film of it, and it's amazing because I personally love gospel music. The more gospel-y, the better, quite frankly. So when I
Hence all
discovered
the gospel
that,
chops, right?
shush! Oh my god, stop! No, actually, I really
40%.
love the like classic kind of 1970s, 80s. I don't know what it is. There's a certain kind of gospel music that's just not crazy, not super choppy. It's not absurd. However, Ricky
Yeah.
Dillard is absolutely slaying the game because he's incredible. But there's just some kind of classic-y. Well, it's not even proper gospel classic, but like in between. That's just so
Yeah.
good. Like oh god, I can't remember the Clark sisters and stuff like that. Just I love it. And a good gospel shout will set me right. So yeah, that's probably why she's there. Aretha Franklin.
And number 3 was Steely Dan. Did you say was that number 3 or number 4?
Steely Dan. I just ended up having I had a moment with Steely Dan because you've got I'm not really too bothered by it. I've forgotten, is it Cheap Thrills is the album, the really famous one? But Asia, amazing album. Outstanding. You've got Steve Gadd on I think Asia, that track, the actual track Asia. And I remember my drum teacher when I was about 18 showing me his performance at the end of that song, and it was amazing. And so I just ended up kind of circulating around that album, and then it ended up being one of the downloaded ones, which I ended up listening to when I had no signal and yada yada yada. So it's just ended up there, and things like Home at Last as well are really good. I think that is Purdie doing a Purdie shuffle. It's just amazing musicianship. It's cheesy because of the synths and the stuff like that, but it's straight up jazz, super jazz, pop jazz. So it's kind of consumable, kind of cheesy, but great because it's recorded so well as well, because it's all fantastic session musicians and yada yada yada. We all know Steely Dan. If not, you should.
What was number 4? I can't remember.
ABBA.
ABBA, yes.
Because Voulez-Vous, the album, lives in my heart rent-free and brain and everywhere else. Maybe my colon. I'm not sure. Who knows? But it probably does. But yeah, Does Your Mother Know was on repeat because that synth intro just slays me every time. And I just love it. And the songwriting is out of this world. I still try and pick apart what makes ABBA so good.
Yeah.
Because it just is. And also the bass player and the drummer, who I never know the names of, like, they go so underappreciated because they make those songs. Like, just, they do. So there's no specific song with ABBA, apart from maybe Does Your Mother Know? But yeah, because they're amazing.
It's kind of great if you come back to the songwriting with this, when you try and deconstruct, it sounds so simple. When you try and deconstruct any ABBA song, the songwriting is a lot. It's layered, right? And everything. The chords are not they're not basic chords. They're way more, but yet the sound of it sounds very clean, simple.
It's
pop,
the perfect combination of of tasteful songwriting.
Yeah.
It's not too much, and it's just perfect. It just is.
Yeah.
To me, anyway. Some people see ABBA as cheesy and obnoxious and yada yada yada, but even if it sounds dated to you, you can't deny that they are just bangers. They just are.
Agreed. 100%
like them or
agreed.
hate them.
And Queen.
I'm not sure how this happened. Because now I'm not going to say that I'm anti-Queen, because I'm definitely not. Queen is the band that got me into music in the first place when I was like 7. I remember having the VHS of all the music videos and just watching it. I hate to think what state that video's in now. So that's the main reason I play music. But because of that, I've also heard Queen so much, and I'm sure everyone has this, where they've had bands that have been in their life forever, which is why, again, I was surprised ABBA was even on this list, because I've heard so much of them. That I've heard them to death. It's in my brain. So I'm not 100% sure which Queen song did this. But it might be, what might it be? I don't even know. I
Give us
genuinely
3.
don't know. Whoops. God, you're asking me some hard question here. Give Me the Prize, probably.
Okay.
Kind of Magic, probably One Vision, probably, maybe, potentially.
You can't actually pick apart that, can you, on Spotify Rap? You can't see the down to the song, right? That information isn't available. I wish it was.
No. I think it says how many times you played certain songs. Like,
yeah, it gives you some stats, but not everything.
No, this is the other thing, right? Okay, so this is the top 5. But the thing is, my playlist, and I'm sure a lot of people are like this, is so varied and there's so much on it that you only end up hearing like your top songs like 15 times, and then it counts as your number 1. So there's a load of music that I've just, like, it says I've listened to 1,477 artists this year, not song, like artists. So there's a whole spectrum that's missing here, and I think it's probably just because of the sheer amount of discography that these artists have got. That means I just end up listening to maybe 2 or 3 of their songs instead of 1.
Yeah, it's the nature of playlist, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's interesting. And obviously, total then, just out of interest, then, what was how many minutes did you?
I'm just trying to find it. 22,140 minutes.
22,140. Okay.
Yeah. And what was yours?
I know you're not going to know the answer to this, but our podcast producer Bex has asked me to ask this question, so I thought I'd drop her in for this one.
Been dobbed in. Hi, Bex. Everybody say hi, Bex, in the chat. Hi.
You can't see her, but we can. She's writing notes and sending me messages.
Yeah.
She's put, like, I wonder if non-musicians listen to more music than musicians, or vice versa.
I have. They definitely, like, people who, like, my boyfriend, for example, he has twice as much time on Spotify, if not more, than me, because he's like, he goes to work and he does IT stuff or whatever, and he just listens to podcasts constantly, or music, or background noise, or whatever. And some people sleep as well. So some people have their top artist as white noise, for example.
That's kind of going to be one of mine. Mine's very much that in that ilk. Interesting.
Well, the conclusion I've come to is Spotify Wrapped is a farce. However, my music taste is outstanding. There we go. That's it. That's all we need.
Mic drop. We'll see you next time. I think it's really interesting though, isn't it? Because I should probably take just a slight backseat on this. And Spotify Wrapped as a concept is such a fascinating thing, because it gets people talking. And I've got some people that haven't got Spotify, and I'm over on Amazon, and they're left out of this conversation, right? And it's such a great. I don't know who came up with it first. Someone did, and they stole it, or they did it.
It's become a cultural moment, like an annual event.
Moment. And it's so fascinating to see what people are listening to. And as you said, it doesn't actually give you a true picture, because you could have a playlist that you listen to a lot that happens to have 3 Queen songs on it. Therefore, it says Queen is your number 5. And actually, that's not really the case. But because, I mean, it is technically, but you don't listen to their albums necessarily, or whatever it might be. But and I think it depends how you listen to music, doesn't it? Do you listen to playlists? Do you listen to albums more? And I would imagine that's a generational thing as well. I'd imagine that older
Most
generations
definitely.
probably listen to albums more than playlists, as a general trend. And again, I don't know. We don't have that data, but this is making presumptions. But it's very interesting. So yeah, I do find it interesting. Mine is absolutely crazy, because I share a Spotify account with my dad. I also use it for teaching. Right, and often
Oh,
I
God.
also use it at the same time as like often it's my phone that's up on the speaker in the house, so it's like my girlfriend often put the songs on as well, or ask her to put certain things on. So it's a complete mess. However, I am very proud to say that my number one artist was Taylor Swift. Yeah.
Oh my God! Congratulations.
And then my number two artist was a fairly heavy metal band called Bloodywood. Number three was Beethoven. Number four was, I can't remember, but it's something like a relaxing sounds thing that I listen to at night and when I nap every day.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's basically it. Number five, I think, was another metal band that's a dance electro metal band called Electric Callboy.
We love a queen with range. We love that.
So I'm kind of all over the place. Again, to me, you talk about playlists. I have a Taylor Swift playlist that I've probably played like 20 times in the whole year.
Right. Okay.
And therefore it gets left on. And so that's like definitely why it's right up there. There is a bunch of other pop artists as well. I love pop, but I also like metal. And I think any true metalheads would own up to the fact that they love pop too.
Yeah.
They're
it's built
very
to be
similar.
liked. It's just built to do that.
There are a lot of similarities there. So all you metalheads out there that say, "Oh no, I don't like pop," you probably do.
Admit it.
I go to a festival.
Admit it.
Called Hellfest, and there is a tent inside the camping area where all night long they play pop music, and it starts with the same Spice Girls. Sorry, it starts with a Spice Girls song and finishes with a Spice Girls song. The boom, dun dun dun
Wanna be.
dun dun. There you go. And that is what I hear at 6 a.m. every morning, and then bang, it goes off. And here's the thing: it started as a joke. And that's become like a massive tent with loads, and it's got bigger and bigger every year, and they get bigger, like more people go into it. They've almost like having to allocate a whole area to it now. And yeah, I just think it proves that that's the case.
Listen, if you're a metalhead and you listen to Man Eater by Nelly Furtado and you don't like it, what's going on? No, mate. No. Banger. Goes hard.
Actually, I think my number one genre was classical, and do you know what's even funnier on the whole elk of like theme of playlist? I don't know barely any of the composers. I just hear the composition and I just know it as that one that's in the background. And I and people always start asking me loads of questions. A friend was around the other day and she's like, "Oh, this, that," and I was like, "I don't know. I literally play. Yep, I've heard that one. That's on the playlist that I have."
Yeah,
and
I'm a bit like that.
That's so different to 20 years ago, where you would know it and you would really have artists have got lost inside this algorithm thing that like people, there's small bands like for example Louis, who's one of our teachers at a moment in time, he and Emma's friend, his band, one of their songs has like well over 500,000 streams 2 or 3 years ago, and I think it's probably pushing closer towards more like 1 million now, right? Yeah, they're really unknown as a band, right? Yeah, but because they're on a playlist. Yeah, and they're on a playlist, so all of a sudden that one song's blown up. I'm not sure if it's Glitter Wound or a different one, but different band. But yeah.
That might be his other one.
Yeah, but it's really interesting. So they're like listened to all the time. Probably right now as we speak, someone's listening to them, and they don't even know who they are. So it's such a different like era of listening to music, isn't it? And Spotify Wrapped just shows that it kind of it's everyone's is so different and random and like almost doesn't make sense. I think that's why, because the nature that we listen to it is changed massively.
Most definitely. But bringing it round to how you play.
Yes. So second half.
Well, so if you're like all classical, I'm guessing the answer is no.
For me, it's a straight out no. I mean, barely anything that I listen to I play to, apart from the pop songs. And actually, that is one of the I would say with pop music, the reason why I like it so much is it has simple beats and it's so much fun to play drums over. That is one of the biggest things for me, is like you can put on most pop songs and just jam to it straight away, and you can either groove or you can just all over it, right? You've got both options when you're just sitting there by yourself, and it enables you to do either just sit in the pocket and enjoy that, or go absolutely ham. So like that's the two extremes for me. But what about you, Emma? Do you ever play much Queen, Fleetwood Mac, all of these kind of artists?
No, but I guess when it comes to function gigs and stuff like that, I am kind of playing all those songs. But in terms of stylistically,
that's not choice though, is it? What about what you choose to play?
I'm a bit weird. A plug
for her band.
Oh, there we go. Well, I mean, with Alona Mayu, I play indie rock, and with Bryony Dunn, I play kind of folky poppy-ish kind of stuff. But honestly, my style, when I'm just sat playing by myself, I don't actually play to songs that often because I just never have.
Interesting.
I'm a bit weird like that. I just find it more meditative to be by myself, just so I don't have to compare myself in my timing, obviously, clearly. But I end up just playing funky grooves. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, when it's just, yep. That is the default when you're solo.
Yeah, because you also you have to fill in. If you're by yourself, you're filling in that space. So I don't sit there and do blast beats or because there's not much to that. There's not much nuance. So I guess that's why I lean more towards the funky stuff. But then I don't sit there going like, oh, I want to play this Tower of Power song, but I do end up sounding like that. So it's a bit like, just they don't
that's so true. Yep.
Cross-pollinate like that.
Yeah.
But then it does come out in my playing anyway because it's just the skills I've developed. But that doesn't mean I can't rinse when it comes to some rock. So it's a bit like a mash between the two.
That's interesting, and it feels like we're plugging Spotify, and we've been sponsored by Spotify for this episode. But
Spotify, listen to me. I'm right here. Please, anybody with Spotify? Anyone know anyone from Spotify? Please. Cool. Thanks. Leave it in the comments. Thank you.
There's a really good on the funk topic and playing to funk or not playing to funk in the case that we were just talking about.
To funk or not to funk?
To funk or not to funk. There's a playlist called All Funked Up on Spotify, and 97% of the songs in there are a jam. Like they're so good to play to, and I have so much fun. And for all my students, I just give them this playlist at the beginning of a lesson. Just be like, put on one of these on shuffle. They're almost guaranteed to give you. Where you might have to do swung 16ths. They might have this kind of feel. You get all the different stuff that you can do with that, and you can jam over it, and it's just great. Like it's such a great playlist for that. So yeah, big up to Connor, my hairdresser, who introduced me to that. That was like a revelation.
Big
moment.
up, Connor.
Yeah, I've listened to that playlist, like played along to that playlist, and again, I don't very rarely put that on to listen to, but I've played to it loads. So another example. So yeah, it's definitely not what I listen to. That I find the lyrics annoying in a lot of funk songs. I don't know about you. They're not very good songs, right? They're very they're funky, but as a composition, they're not the best. Like
they're really not. Like even Tower of Power, you're like, this is just so. I don't know what it is, and I can't be the only person who, when they're listening to funk, just it feels, even if the production's on point, it just feels a bit cheesy. And I don't know what it is. But it's like it gives me like early 2090s just production. Something about it. It might be just because it's so clean.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it just it's so polished that it's just a bit like it's missing a little something here. Soul with a capital S by Tower of Power is a tune. But yeah, most of the time it's just a bit like missing a bit of something. But I was just thinking a minute ago, like as musicians, we're not normal listeners, I don't think, because we're picking apart and figuring out songs differently, and we're hearing different things to other people, which is why for me, I don't generally sit and listen to classic pop stuff, all the stuff that we've heard and is ingrained in our psyches just as a culture or society of a British person who grew up at the certain time I did. Like, it just doesn't do anything to me. However, if it comes on at a party, that's different. Why is that different?
Yeah.
Why? Because surely it should be a bop every time.
No, this is why I think I have an answer to that, and it's quite a
Mhm.
simple one. Having moved to another country and seen French like pop songs go off in the club,
Hmm.
the coolest dudes in the corner that are trying to look really cool are then up and dancing and singing all of a sudden, right? And they
Yeah.
don't listen to that. You know, they genuinely don't. But it's a cultural phenomenon, let's call it, right? That like everyone's into it straight away. So if that's well known and they, because most pop songs are pretty sing-alongable, even if you can't hit the high notes. As a general vibe, you can. So people just, you know, stuck into it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. It's like you're just included. It's a tribal thing, isn't it? It goes back to a
I guess.
tribe, and
Yeah.
everybody has those few rhythms, patterns, feelings, dances that
Fall to the floor. That's all you need.
Yeah, and it's it. Yeah, and in our culture, that's what it is. And obviously, each culture has its own thing. So
Definitely.
I think that's what they are. They're like the standards of life. Instead of like, you know, you got your jazz. They're just in that culture. They are standards, and everyone knows them, and it's everyone can join in. So cool. All right,
Awesome.
interesting. How should we wrap up this podcast then?
Shame on both of you. I know, Bex, you're not in this thing, but God, why have you forsaken us? Why? Don't give me face. Don't act like I can't see you.
Oh, we should have been filming Bex for this. That's too good. Sorry, audience, that you cannot see.
No.
Yeah, we're getting lots of messages coming through from her, and
yeah,
I'm gonna own up. That
guess,
was me, that one. But
so okay, my question to wrap everything up: what person were you expecting to be on your Wrapped as your top artist? Oh, actually, no.
Good. No, it's a good question. I like that. I think that's great. It's a great question.
Who were you expecting to be there and
Who
wasn't?
were you expecting? Oh, you know what? This year I've not really listened to music, so not in my normal way that I would, and I haven't like. I often listen to music when I'm going through worse periods, and they help me get through tough times. So I've had a pretty good year. I'm happy with 2023 as a year, and so I wasn't listening to a lot, and the stuff I was all pretty happy, hence the Taylor Swift, and just jamming along like whatever. And so for me, I wouldn't have known. Some years I would like straight away an artist and I would know the answer, but in this particular case, I really didn't know. I was intrigued when opening it, and I thought maybe a metal like one, just because of how much I kind of listened to or met with this year in comparison to everything else. But turns out Tay Tay topped it. What about you?
I was just trying to think, and I think it's just to look a bit more basic. Kylie Minogue. I was expecting that woman has my whole heart. She's got the whole thing. She's got it. It's gone. It's not here. It's with Kylie Minogue. Because when I was a kid, we had the Queen VHS, we had Madonna VHS of music videos, and then we had Kylie Minogue's music videos on DVD. Kylie won over Madonna. Sorry, Madonna. I know you're mad about it, but just it is what it is. Okay, I've only got one heart. I can only give it to one person. So that's who I was expecting, because her pop songs, especially early 2000s, spinning around like that universe. Oh my god,
they are bangers.
The writing on that is just outstanding. So yeah, that was the one for me that was lacking.
Cool, nice. All right, well, in the comments, let us know what you thought it was going to be, and then what it actually was. I think that would be a nice one.
What did you think my Spotify Wrapped was going to be?
Yours?
Not that you. Yeah.
Oh, that's so difficult, because the thing is,
I listen to everything.
We barely talk about this as a topic. I wouldn't have expected you would have thought it to be a pop artist. For sure. I wasn't expecting you to say that.
Yeah.
What it turned out to actually be doesn't surprise me from the few conversations you have had about it. But like I wouldn't have expected you to think it was a pop artist, for sure.
Yeah, I'm actually way more vocal led than I am music usually. It's obviously across the two, but like if you're in the car driving, I'm there for a scream sing. I'm not there for like dissecting musical stuff usually. So it's usually going to end up in that realm of scream yelling.
Because I think that's the thing with musicians, isn't it, that we like when, because we hear music all day, every day. Whether you teach, whether you're in a band, whether you're in whatever the situation is, if you're pursuing music, you hear it all the time. And sometimes you have to hear the same song over and over and over and over and over and over again, right? And so you tend to like. I mean, I sit in silence in the car a lot when I drive. Right, I actually just have silence, and just and to non-musicians that sounds mental, like you're a crazy person, right?
No,
and I've said
no.
no, because you're a musician. But whenever I say it to
Yeah.
any of my friends that don't play music, they're like, "Are you a psychopath? Like, are you okay?" Like, and then the other person in the car is a musician. Like, no, I do the same, man. Or I
Yeah.
completely understand, and that's why for me it's classical. And actually, to answer your question, I'd have thought it'd have been something classical because that's what I put on at night to read in the background. Yeah. So there we go.
To cope with like driving home after gigs.
Yeah.
Because you've just filled your head with so much music. It's either silence or like lo-fi or classical or
lo-fi.
Sometimes I find because you need to stay awake, it's like chill instrumental house or something that keeps you kind of just
thought you'd be like some real death metal. Just to keep you awake,
Bleed,
window open
on loop.
like, yeah. Oh.
No. I've only had to do that once and it didn't work very well, so no.
Well, when we go to the NAMM show, we've actually hired a Tesla, Emma, and I think it might be one that self-drives itself, so we just don't have to worry about even driving home. We just hold the wheel and fall asleep, and there you go. Yeah.
What? You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, we just did it yesterday or the day before.
So cool. Oh my God, that's amazing. Okay, I'm getting off topic. Okay, so to summarise, I'm an old woman and you're an eclectic, basically, who likes Taylor Swift and metal. I respect it. But this is what we've established. I'm glad we established this.
Yep. It took us 34 minutes to do so.
Yeah. Because you've got musicians talking about their music taste. They're going to be, well, I say they. I am going to have some strong opinions.
Yeah,
that people are going to likely agree or disagree with and nowhere in between because it's the internet. But I would love to know what everyone else's Spotify Wrapped were as well in the comments. If you have any weird things that you weren't expecting, please put them down below. Or if yours link with mine somehow, I want to know. Maybe we can be friends. Who knows? Either way, I think we should leave it there and sign off there. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you in the next episode. Big love. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Missing a Beat. If you would like to see more, just like this one, because there are, check this one out. Or maybe this one. Whichever you prefer. It's up to you. But it has to be one of these two. You can't leave. Please don't leave.